You are now tuned in to your boy, Coach Tate. It's time to grow. Get it, bro. Get it. Let's grow. Hey, what's up, fam? Let's grow. Get it. Today, we're going to be talking about developing passion and purpose, growth mindset part 2. The reason why I did a part 2 is because I had to give it to you. So I want to start off with something a little bit different. Let's take a stroll down memory lane. When I was just a little kid coming out of 5th grade, going into 6th grade, you know, I had this teacher. This teacher was just like, yo, Dante, you don't ever do anything in my class. How are you even doing this homework? And I was like, you know what? I just do my homework at home. I don't like this class. And the teacher was like, you're going to be a failure in life. And I was like, okay, well, I'll be the greatest failure ever. This is in the 6th grade. And I guess in the 6th grade, I didn't really care too much about what anybody was saying. I don't know if that's just because of the way my parents brought me up, but I didn't really care about what people were really saying, especially older people. I just wanted to go and hang out with my friends. So one day I remember um, this teacher this teacher was just like, yo, you're gonna be just like all the other drug dealers out there. And in my head, I was just like, my parents won't even let me touch drugs. That's not gonna be me. My parents won't let me touch that. If I even get caught with that, I'm gonna be in jail. They gonna turn me in. But this teacher swore, you're just gonna be another drug dealer, another statistic. And like, I just want to say, fast forward 10 years later, 3 years after high school, I was working at this uh, after school program, and I was working with this kid. This kid had really bad behaviors, and I was the only person that got through to this child, and the child like really respected me, which was amazing because this child didn't listen to anybody else in the program. It's an after school program. Granted that, kids in the after school program don't necessarily listen. I learned that 10 years teaching. I got it. But this kid did not want to listen to anyone but me. Now, this kid's last name seemed familiar. This is 10 years later. This kid's last name seemed familiar. And when this kid's parent came to the school, the after school program that I was I was working there. This parent came to the school to pick up their child, and I did not know why. It just was like, I don't like you. This was the first time ever I got that feeling like I just don't like you. I don't know why. To this parent, this child's parent. But the child was cool. So I looked this parent in the eye, and let's just say that teacher that told me that I was going to be a drug dealer, this was their child. Their child was in the after school program in my class. And their child told their parent about me and how I was the coolest teacher ever. Yet I didn't know why I didn't like this person. So I look at this person's last name and I'm just like, I know you from somewhere. And then this person looks at me. I'm like, did you ever teach at such and such middle school? They're like, yeah, I did. And I was like, I mentioned the last name, the teacher's last name. I was like, do you ever remember the bad kids in your class? And the teacher was like, yeah, why? And the teacher eyes widened. Surprise. It's me. This is one of this is one of the most rewarding stories that I have ever shared with anyone. One, because what that teacher said, I'm just going to be the next drug dealer, right? What that teacher said, it was motivating. It was motivating enough for me to continue to get my C's and D's. Y'all thought I had an inspirational story. Nah, it was motivating enough to continue to get C's and D's so my parents wouldn't whoop my butt, you know? F's were unacceptable, but C's and D's, man, at least I got a break from butt whoopings. But yeah, so I shared this story. I really shared this story just because it's in the realm of that uh, growth mindset, right? I developed a passion, and at that time, my passion was teaching because this teacher told me I couldn't or I wouldn't be anything but the next drug dealer, right? This teacher told me I wouldn't. And I use that as motivation to teach other people that they can. When you develop a passion for something, you identify what it is that you value the most. And at that time, what I valued was educating others on knowing that there is a different way, you know? Like when I eventually, at this point, I eventually uh, became a teacher for 10 years, you know? And I'm not sure if that teacher inspired me not to be a drug dealer, but to be a better teacher, to be a better teacher than they were. And I did exactly that because, you know, let's 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 speak statistics. People who live in the people who live in poverty or who live in the hood don't have much of a chance at success. Their success is limited. So let's develop a passion. Let's develop purpose. First things first, I've got 6 things that we're going to focus on today. First one is our values. And there's a lot that I could talk about with values. Most of us don't know what values are, though. So, a value reflects your belief, principles, morals. Just consider how you align yourself with your values. Your actions speak louder than words, right? Anybody can talk all day, but when you provide action to your values, you are engaged. When you think values, think about what's more important to you and think about what you want to stand for. In that moment, in that story that I just shared with you, I wanted to stand for change. I wanted to be the change. And my favorite quote is by Mahatma Gandhi: be the change you wish to see in the world. And that's what I expected to do. Let's reflect on our values. Think about what's most important to you and what you actually stand for. Most of us don't know what we stand for. Reflect on your beliefs, your principles, and your morals. How are you going to how are you going to align your actions with your values? A lot of people just speak about their values, but they never align their actions with their values. Your action is you engaging in your values. If I value family, uh if I value friendships, I'm going to be engaged in these. Okay? So, how are you aligning your actions with your values? So, the first things first, identify your values, reflect on your values. What are they? Right? Second, identify your interests. Think about something that, excites you or bring you joy. Like, what is it? For me, education brings me joy. I don't know why it does, but just to share knowledge, just to share new information with people, just it excites me. It brings me joy. And that's probably why I spent 10 years in education. Consider your hobbies, passions, and talents, um, and think about how you can incorporate them into your life. Third one, set goals. Identify what you want to achieve, set the goal, make sure they're aligned with your values and your interests. Okay? Write them down, break them down into smaller goals, make them achievable, right? So when we set goals, one of the things that we do, we write them down and then we leave them. If you're the type of person that write them down and leave them and expect them to happen without putting in the work, we need some help. It takes you being engaged. You have to be engaged. You set those goals, you write them down, you break them down, you see what is achievable, and you figure out the next steps. Then you go and try to accomplish these goals, right? You may fail once, twice, you may have some setbacks, but it's only going to lead you closer to identifying what you need and not what you want. Okay? Because there's a difference between need and want. So break those goals down, right? Break those goals down and engage in them. Figure out what it is that you need every step of the way. Fourth one, Seek inspiration. There are people around you that might be able to inspire you. There's books, there's TED Talks, there's YouTube. Listen to podcasts, which is probably what you're doing now. Attend events, conferences, things that are aligned in your interests. Fifth one, embrace failure. A lot of us don't like failure. And this is just what I said with your goals, right? Embrace failure. Remember that failure is a part of the learning process. Embrace failure as an opportunity for growth. Use your setbacks as motivation to keep going. This last one, number 6, is to practice self-care. I ask a lot of people, how do you take care of yourself? What is your self-care? And just coming from a mental health background, like a lot of people don't know what self-care is until they start taking like steps to completing self-care. It's really interesting how people say, "Oh, I'm independent. I do this, I do that," but at the same time, you can have so many things that you do. These are all tasks. How do you take care of yourself after engaging in these tasks? Tasks are not self-care. Tasks are things that you do or you have to do or you have to get done. If I don't go to work, if I don't go to work, I don't have money to pay rent. If I don't go to work, I don't have food, right? These are tasks, things that you have to do. What is something that you don't have to do, that you like to do? This is your self-care. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. There's also spiritually. Make time for yourself, self-care activities that bring you joy and that help you recharge. So after completing a task, engage in some self-care. That's your way of rewarding yourself for completing something. After you've completed a goal, reward yourself with self-care. How do you do that? I don't know. Let's figure this out. Maybe I like to go take a walk. Okay, that's self-care. Maybe walks help me to gain mental clarity, self-care. Walks help me to maintain my health, self-care, right? That's just one example. Self-care is things that you enjoy doing things that you enjoy doing, right? Make sure you practice self-care, all right? To wrap this up, I gave you 6 things to do, right? When developing passion and purpose. 1, reflect on your values. 2, identify your interests. 3, set goals. 4, seek inspiration. 5, embrace failure. And 6, practice self-care. The 6th one is very, very important. I can't say it enough. Practice self-care. All right? And remember, self-care goes a long way. It's your boy, Coach Tate, and I'm out.